So let's talk about organising and the Organising Board program which we deliver. Now this is the largest program by far that we deliver and the most extensive. So what is an Organising Board and what is the program designed to do? Well, simply it's an abrasive organising and management tool which enables you to clarify roles and responsibilities, the outputs of various areas of your business, to clarify workflow from the start to finish, and very importantly, who does what and what is their output. And then most importantly of all, how do we measure it? You may have a way of measuring your company which would be profits, profit and loss, balance sheets, but that's only done quarterly or maybe monthly. And out of a team of 10 or 20 or even 5 staff or 100 staff, how do you know who was contributing to it? Do you ever feel like you're doing all the work? You've got these other staff, some are friendly, some look busy, some don't, but who's actually contributing to these statistics that you look at the end of the month or the end of the year for that matter? Well, by the end of the Organising Board program, you'll know who does what, and the other staff will know who does what, what's your job, what's not your job, what's their job, what isn't their job. And there'll be clear, manageable statistics which you can see on the wall, and so can the rest of the staff to manage and to monitor the team's production. So what isn't the Org Board? Well, I'll tell you one thing it's not, and that's a command chart. Now, almost every company I go into has a command chart, and it goes something like this. We have a CEO at the top, or a general manager, and something like that. You see this in armies as well. And we just then have a post and the name. Post, name, so on, and so on. And then, quite often you'll see this. Oh, we just go out over here, and we'll have another little thing. Now, this is better than nothing. However, all it really tells you is what are the roles in the company and who's there. It doesn't tell you what their result is. It doesn't tell you what the flow of the company is. And I'll tell you one thing it actually does do, and it's this. It actually causes bottlenecks, because for an authority or for an approval, everything has to go to here. Everything goes to here, everything goes to here, and actually causes a lot of companies to jam up because everything has to go through the CEO. And the CEO consequently actually doesn't really end up doing his job normally, which would be coordinating, planning for future expansion and that sort of thing. He ends up just getting involved in all of the middle management and the actual work itself. And then you get this thing that we call jammed at the top, and you also get the micromanaging manager who's always involved in putting out fires and making sure that everything happens. Now this is a person who doesn't really get their job done and doesn't really enjoy it. And what's worse is that the staff themselves don't even do their own jobs. So you have a tremendous amount of inefficiency. And I can tell you that most companies are operating at about 30% efficiency. Now without an organising board, you're never going to get it past about 50%. So this is one thing that our program is not. What are some of the things that the Organising Board handles? Well, it depends on your company. However, I can tell you that you'll see a small business, and while it's 3 or 4 people, it tends to be okay. A lot of things get done, it's quite profitable. But then as it starts to grow, some important functions and key things that the owners used to do, they drop or they disappear. And as it grows, it gets less and less efficient. The owners generally have a harder and harder time, and it makes less money. So one of the things this board caters for is expansion, and it actually applies to a small company of 1 all the way up to 10,000 people. It actually is that scalable. Now, as you deal with bigger companies, you get into a situation where things fall through the cracks, or, oh, I thought that was his job, or, no, isn't that your job? Oh, well, we actually don't know who does that. So guess who does it? The boss, the managers. And this is why you have all these executives overworked, because jobs aren't clearly defined. And it's a massive cause of inefficiency. Is you've got 3 people doing the same thing while no one's doing another thing, or you have two people doing one thing, and the combinations are never ending. But what happens is that you don't get maximum productivity, your clients don't get the greatest amount of service, and so on. So this is one of the things that it can help handle is inefficiencies, things falling through the cracks, constant firefighting. You get to the end of the day and all you've done is handle messes. These all can be helped with an organising board. Now here's one point I want to make, is that it is a very, very efficient management tool, a very effective management tool. However, it still takes work. This won't happen overnight. You'll have to implement it. You'll get very key principles, but then it has to be put into use. Now we guide you through this every step of the way, but it isn't for the faint-hearted. It isn't lip service. This is not just a gloss over. We're going to actually reorganise your company so it has maximum flow from start to finish. And that will equal profits and greater production and happier clients. Alright, so how can an organising board affect your business and improve it? So if we look at a business, it's pretty simple. Things flow in and then things flow out. Now, the way you want it to be is that you have absolute speed and efficiency, and things go in, they go to the right person, they get done as expected, they go to the next person, they get changed, they get handled, and they go on. Now, if you can get that to happen in volume, you'll have a fantastic business, it'll make money, and so on. Now, it's interesting that what makes your business money is production. And when I say production, I mean a finished service or thing which has value. That's the only thing you ever get money for. So you've got your company, it outflows products, and then it actually inflows money. So one of the things that you want to do when you're organising your business is organise for greater production, and you'll actually have more money. And if you can organise your business in such a way that it produces more value and more exchange with your clients and your customers, you'll actually get in more money. So that's what we're after with the organising board, is we want maximum flow through. Now, unfortunately, what happens in a lot of companies is you have the company, but nothing's really that clear. There's maybe some shady lines there of what this guy does, and maybe this guy's over here, and he sort of handles some inquiries, and you get the idea. It's not very organised. So it's going to go boom, 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 and maybe something comes out, but you might have to put in that much effort to get a few things out. So what we want to do is organise your business from start to finish so you have maximum flow through. And that's the first principle of the organising board. Alright, so there's actually seven key functions and 7 main things that have to happen in every business for maximum production. And this is one of the things we're going to do in the organising board program, is analyse your business to see which bits you have, which bits you don't, or perhaps which bits are you strong in and which parts are you a little weak. And sometimes you have all of the 7 parts, but just they're in the wrong order, and that's costing you time, money, wasted productivity, and so on. So let's just quickly look at these very briefly. We'll break them up into divisions. Now, every company has finance and planning, or your executive area. That's a definite job. Then you've got your recruiting. You've got recruiting, you've got establishment. Then you have sales. You have accounts. That's money in, money out. Reporting it. You've got production. You've got quality control, which is not just quality control of the product, it's actually also of your staff. Are your staff making errors? So you can fix the product, but what if you never fix the staff? You keep getting errors. So there's many aspects. There's actually 4 aspects to quality control we cover. And then there's the public. Now this is what you could say is business development. We now get out there and get more clients. Now there's other breakdowns of this, but these 7 functions, or these 7 main divisions, are in every company. Now if you're missing one, you're inefficient, or you're unorganised, or disorganised. One of the things, for example, you'll find is that people will tend to put their accounts after production, and that gives them cash flow problems. But more about that in the program. So, in each of these areas, someone needs to do their job, and each area has an output or a product. And each area has an output, and then there's an actual output for the whole company. So I won't go into any more, but you must have these in. We make sure that they're in your company. We make sure that there's a flow. And we make sure that there's a way for things to get into your company and out at expected time and expected value. So what does the program cost? Now, for a smaller business, we have a simpler program which costs $4,950 including tax. And in this you get the training, you get us sitting down with you one-on-one and developing the flow for your business and the chart and so on. Then you get the board itself, the organising board, the map of your business with all of its outputs and so on. Then we post it so you know who's where and who does what. Then we help you put together statistics so you can measure people's production. And we also give you templates for policies and templates for job descriptions to help with training and so on of your staff. So that's basically what you get in that package. Now, we do essentially the same thing for larger companies. So your small to medium enterprises, the prices start from $10,000 to $20,000 and on upwards. For a larger company, apply and we'll give you a price on consultation. Let's talk about results of putting the organising board into a company. Well, firstly, in all the companies I've ever run, I've always got an increase in production the moment an organising board goes into place. So you get more for less, or more with the same. Now, in terms of clients, we have a manufacturing company in the automotive industry, and they would have closed down, per the CEO, without putting in this organising board. But what happened when we clarified the roles and responsibilities and so on was that there was an increase in new business sales, $19 million the year before, so up $19 million, and that was in the global financial crisis, in the automotive industry. Other things they were able to do through using the organising board was to cut bottom line costs by $6 million a year with no loss in efficiency, no loss in quality. So that was all wastage from 2 or 3 people doing the same job and so on. And there's been a number of other benefits to them, such as lower absenteeism and so on. Now, in terms of the property industry, we had a client there and they had 3.4 times growth in 1 year after putting in the org board. And that was with the growth in staff, growth in sales and so on. And another client we had is in the financial services industry. They have 9 or 10 staff, and their production and the amount of loans and so on they've been able to get through, also during the global financial crisis, has been 400%. So it's a 4 times increase with the same number of staff in 1 year. So there's some of the results that can be attained by using the org board and getting it implemented.